sharing this is an activity that works well. It was, this is something I've tried and it worked really well, or it did work really well, and people sort of helping each other, supporting each other in what else we could do, you know, for that child that would improve. And it might be modifying that original activity, or it might be a suggestion of some completely different things that they could do. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Connie.
Okay, a couple of minutes again while we get ready for the next one. Connie and Liz are a good example of taking AOZ across the school. They were brave enough and they launched in and they started working together. The initial requirement was to set up your PLTs in your grade 3 to 6s, and they launched in and could see how the model could apply in their prep to 2 and began work in that way. And they meet regularly, so they're making sure that the professional learning across the school and what is happening in the PLTs is very closely aligned. I can see somebody here, I think we're getting too hot. What did you, any feedback or questions about what you saw? It's beautiful for you. Yes?
So you actually go around about organising PLT so
yes.
that everybody has ownership of
yes.
the data that the students are working at, and where their particular students are going as far as literacy and numeracy are concerned. Because once you start breaking up into a literacy PLT and a numeracy PLT and behaviour management PLT, you've got people who are focused in on that. But really, most of those people are also classroom teachers, and they need to have, regardless of what PLT you're in, they need to be involved or have ownership of the activities that they're going to work with.
Yeah, they do. It's a good, it is a good question, and I'll answer it for now. You will get a lot of information about running your PLT and a role play session with Patrick at the start of the year. And as Liz and Connie said, the PLTs develop and evolve over time. I love the honesty of, I think it was Liz who said, oh, first of all it was imposed and now the teachers actually like it and look toward it because they are actually developing their voice through it. Running PLTs across numeracy, literacy and behaviour management is certainly something that needs to be thought through, and this is where the school improvement team, and as Lena was saying earlier, setting up an approach across the school that will work includes setting up your meeting schedule across the school and how often each of those teams are going to meet. And it depends, some schools have focused more on one thing than another. They have selected that numeracy will be their main thing. That doesn't mean that literacy stops, or that literacy will be their main thing, depending on what their data's telling them. And it is actually better to start small and get it right, and then expand from there and build up the capacity of your staff and also the commitment level of your staff. So it's better to start small. I'd be correct in saying you don't have to launch in and start 3 at once?
No,